There can be only one. There you go. Welcome to SDH's Look at USL League One. We'll let you know what happened last week, get you into what's going to be happening this week. The guest is South Georgia Tormenta head coach Ian Cameron. Big win for the Tormenta Magenta at home against a talented FC Tucson side. We'll get into that matchup, team of the week, new players, and how things are going for the coach down in Statesboro. He's our guest this week. We'll get you into news and notes and let you know what also has happened in the past 7 days. So let's take a look at what happened last week and let you know with the week 4 scores with what went down. It was back on May the 1st. You had Greenville, big win over North Texas. You know, we were talking about it on the show. Chris Ashley wanted a prediction. I said 2-0, and it was Jason saying 1-0. It ended up being 4-0. Big win for Greenville over North Texas. So it was goals on the board in the 7th minute from Marius Lomas, the assist from Brandon Fricke. Andrew Booth scored in the 34th, assist from Don Smart. Don Smart, big veteran acquisition in the offseason for the Greenville Triumph. Lomas scores again with the assist from Lachlan McLean in the 57th, and then it was McLean scoring again in the 66th, the assist to Tyler Pollock. You had 2 reds for North Texas. You had Gibran Rayo with a violent conduct red in the 76th, and then Kazoo with a violent conduct red in the 77th. So things spiraling out of control, really, in the last 15 minutes of the match. But big win for Greenville over North Texas on the board. We'll get into the South Georgia win over FC Tucson. That was 3-1 as well. And a win for Fort Lauderdale CF over the Richmond Kickers, 2-1 at Inter Miami CF Stadium at Drive Pink. So your goals on the board there, Sean Hundal, who made Team of the Week, he scored in the 20th. And also on the board, it was an equalizer by Neil Vigneault that tied things up. And then the goal that put it away was Hundal's second of the match in the 83rd, the assist going to George Costa. So that was the results there from the past week. When you look at standings as we head into the weekend, Fort Lauderdale CF's already played 4 matches, by the way, but Greenville 2-0 on the season, and they're on top with 6 points. Fort Lauderdale has played twice as many matches, and they have alternated results. They're 2-2. Union Omaha, bunch of folks right now with 3 points on the board. Union Omaha, Richmond, South Georgia Tormenta, North Texas, and New England Revolution 2. Right now it is goal difference that is the separator. Union Omaha 1 ahead of Richmond, 3 ahead of South Georgia Tormenta, 4 ahead of both North Texas and New England. Teams that have not even played a match yet this season: Chattanooga Forward, Madison, North Carolina FC, and Toronto FC2. FC Tucson, with that 1 match on the board, losing 3-1 in Statesboro. They're right now at the bottom of the 12-team table with a record of 0-1. When you look at Team of the Week, because of the activity that happened, and once again, Coach gets into it with us there with Coach Cameron. Player of the Week was Marius Lomas for his performance. First and third goals on the night in the 4-0 win. Dallas J. from Greenville ends up with keeper. Your back line, Curtis Thorne of Tormenta, Ethan Harden from Fort Lauderdale, Brandon Fricke from Greenville. Your midfield of 4, Andrew Booth, Kobe Perez, George Acosta from Fort Lauderdale, and Adrian Billhart from South Georgia Tormenta. Your front line of 3, Loomis, Hundal, and Lachlan McLean. Your chance to vote for Goal of the Week, go to USL League One, USLLeagueONE.com, and your choices for Goal of the Week come from Lachlan McLean, Shaq Adams of Tucson, and Marco Micheletto. McLean got his goal. It was, remember, the last goal on the board that was scored for Greenville. Shaq Adams knocked the shutout out of the board for Tormenta, and Micheletto's was the last one on the board, so it sealed the victory. So you can go to USLLeagueOne.com, vote for Lachlan McLean, Shaq Adams, or Marco Micheletto for your goal of the week. Now let's get into the interview for this week, and it's time to catch up with Ian Cameron, head coach of South Georgia Tormenta, as he breaks down the season to date, what it's like to be a first-year coach on the touchline in USL League One, having come up from being an assistant under John Milleracey, what it's like to be the head man in charge, and what he's seen so far from his club. What are some of your takeaways? I know that it's only been a couple of days. I don't know how much film you've been able to watch. I don't know how much you've had to analyze as you get ready to hit the road, but what are some of your early takeaways from the weekend?
Yeah, look, our process is on a Sunday, the boys do a regeneration. On a Monday, we train, we do some gym work, we get, everything from the Saturday out the legs, and then we recap on the previous Saturday's game. And then once we're done with Monday, all attention on Tuesday's match day -4 for the next game. So we recapped on Monday, and it's there's parts of the game that we were really happy with, and then there's plenty to get better at. It's one of those where we actually felt that we played very well, and not very well, but we played considerably well on the first 2 games, yet the result wasn't there. So the key for our group was to stick with the process, and I know that sounds obviously pedantic, but it really was incredibly important for our group because they knew they were on the precipice of good results and scoring goals and doing all the right things. They've just got so much new information and the staff's given them just now that we look a wee bit robotic in the games, and we're just learning our system of play. But some of the parts came to fruition on Saturday, which we're happy about against you'll know this, an extremely talented Tucson team. Individual quality has got to be one of the best in the league. So for the most part, we mitigated most of that. You can't stop them completely. And our group teamwork really shone through, which we're happy about.
When you look at the small sample size, and in the grand scheme of things, you're only talking about 10% of the schedule, but when you look at the small sample size from match 1 through match where we are right now as you're about ready to hit the road again, what do you think so far?
What amazes me is that the competitive balance in USL 1 League is extraordinarily high. You look at most leagues across the world, you've got very, very top teams, and then you've got different types of matchups. But you watch USL 1 and you feel like anybody could be anybody. And each game's extremely transitional. You watch back and each team's had chances to win the game. And that's probably the case for the MLS to do the same part. Maybe it's part to do with the setup of our structure of sport over in this country. But USL 1 in general, I think there's a couple of teams who play a safer brand of soccer and are very, very good at it. Your Greenvilles and Omahas they're built to win, and they will win. And but at the same token, you don't go into those games scared to play them. They're the games you can win, but at the same time, I think they've just got habits that week in, week out, put the margins on their side. We are trying to do a little bit more with our game, which then brings challenges of whether we're capable of doing that. So the MLS teams sit in one spectrum of free play and stick strictly to their model and just do what they want to do to simulate the first team. Then you've got some standalone teams who have a very, very strict way of playing that's to win the league. And then I think you've got a couple of teams who are a bit hybrid, who like a lot of young players, but want to put a little splash of competitive balance in there. And I think that's where we sit.
And one of the things, obviously, that folks are drawn to is the integration of new faces into what Tormenta want to be. When it comes to the new guys that have come in so far, I know it takes a while to get to full song, but when you look at progress from the new guys, where they're not just wearing, a piece of tape with their name on their forehead so everybody knows who they're talking to and who they're communicating with, but what's it been like with the new guys integrating into the process?
Yeah, I think again, like I said earlier, I think the process is quite tough for them because we have, I'm not saying it's the right way or the wrong way, but our staff has a lot of terminology that we use that's different for these guys. We have a training environment that's very, very fast paced. So that curve, that growth curve is quite steep for the new guys coming in. But they've taken to it pretty well. And again, we feel like we've got a really good training environment. We feel like these guys have adapted to it. We just feel like we're a team. We really do believe that we'll get better and better and better as the season goes on. Time will only tell if that's true, but with the information we have on hand, that's certainly how we feel. And the new faces are great. I mean, for our community to see some new faces come in who have different talents and wow our crowd and do some special things that they've seen previously from USL 2, some candidates from there who've come through, that whole picture to Tormenta is pivotal. We've got more than half the team has come through USL 2. We've got 4 members in our team who are USL Academy players. And then we've got some guys who've been here a while and some new faces from outside. And that, collection of different personalities and different backgrounds is pretty cool to put together. and it's still a work in progress. But we like our group. They're a good group of boys, and they're putting everything into it just now. Even if the results haven't quite always been there, we're happy with them. They're making the most of their potential.
A couple of guys made Team of the Week, and I think it shows the progression of where things are when you have someone.
I think that's also because very few teams played. I think we had to.
True, but I mean, when you look at the numbers, I think that you can sit there and see where things are working their way forward. Where you have someone like Curtis come through at an 89% pass rate, and I know that having that kind of control from the back is big. When someone like Kobe can come in and make an impact instantly. And when you have someone like Adrian, and that's why I wanted to ask the question about the new faces, you have a bunch of different guys who are at different aspects and different lines of either attack or defense, and they're doing their part as a part of that larger picture.
Yeah, no, it is true. The new guys that we have coming in have all brought their own skill set and are adapting it. As soccer is a little bit different than American football. We don't really talk about individual unit groups as much as American football, but in moments, it's a much more fluid game than most of the American sports. But there is unit sides to it, and there's some things that defenders have to do. There's some things midfielders have to do, and forwards, and that's where they get judged on. Curtis gets judged on twofold. And fullback, I believe, is the hardest position in the field to play. You've both got such massive responsibilities against the ball and with the ball. And Curtis is an exceptional talent at it, and we believe Nick O'Callaghan is as well, and Stefan who's out injured. So these guys all have different skill sets, and we have to, how do we utilise each tool that they have and put it together into a bigger pie? And again, we've got some guys who are pretty physical, we have some guys who are more technical, we've got a more diverse group, I think, than most teams. So some teams are very linear in how they play and linear in how they recruit. And it makes it easier. They can start pre-season, everybody on the same page, knowing this is what we do. And they do it exceptionally well. And that can sometimes win championships. But we are going for the tact. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. We're going for the tact of trying to have some different pieces and different looks that can adapt to different matches. And putting all that together takes time. It absolutely does. And there's been some moments where we've got it. And then there's some moments that obviously need a lot of work. And we've seen that already in the first 3 games.
How are you and the staff adjusting to being the new guys on the touchline for South Georgia Tormenta in League One?
Well, it's a massive privilege. I mean, I'm the oldest staff member at 32. Tom is 32. Nick's 31. Jordan and George are both in their 20s. So we're young and dumb, and we're enthusiastic with the boys as well. So we don't have experience. We don't have that maturity. Our owners help us in terms of some of the maturity in moments and giving us some kind of worldly advice. But for us, we're just our economic moat as a staff is our interactions and not being far removed from the young players under our supervision. We feel like we can relate with them. We feel like we've been in their shoes not too long ago, and that's kind of the leverage which we use to try to help them further their careers. But it's a privilege, it's fun. Our training facilities fantastic that the club has provided for us, and Statesborough's a cool, quirky town, and we're very, very happy to have this opportunity to coach a team and put some things into play, and long may it continue.
Ian Cameron, head coach at South Georgia Tormenta, hanging out with us for the USL League One review from the past week. One of the things I wanted to get into with you this week is something that the team has already experienced here in the 2021 season, and that's travel. And knowing what we've been through over the last 14, 15 months, I figured that travel in league settings is, I could use the word interesting, I could use the word difficult. There are a lot of adjectives, I think, that turn it into something that has to be paid a hyper amount of attention to than before. The trip to Omaha, as an example, coming up with the trip to Richmond this weekend to take on the Kickers. What is travel like in USL League One, and how much of a challenge is it for an organization?
I think with anything in life, the more planning you put into it, the better the communication you have across the front office, the coaching staff and the players, the better. We've got a pretty mature group who understand these things, and we've got some terrific people in our front office staff who are helping us with all these little details to make sure the production as we go is very strong. And we just have. I think vigilance is the key. I think we have to, especially COVID and the restrictions that we're under and the protocols we're under. We just have to be really mature, really balanced, and really vigilant in all the little details. But again, we've got young guys at the start of their professional careers. The group that we have are guys who put their hand up and said, I want to be a pro soccer player. Tormenta said, here's where you start, right? We don't have many guys. We don't, other than maybe Clay Adams, we don't have anybody who's come from the championship down. Unlike a lot of teams in our league who bring some guys down, and we are the same as MLS. We've got young guys, hopefully on their way up. So they put their hand up and said, I want to be a pro soccer player. Well, here's your challenge. We've got traveling can be difficult. Turning around the next morning, going back, the mood swings, the emotions, the vigilance that you need to get all the details correct. Well, that's what being a pro is. That's big part of the picture. Can you prepare yourself? Can you prepare your body? Can you prepare your nutrition? All these things, and that's part of the journey. So I think it's good that we have a fair amount of travel in USL 1. I know for the owners financially, it'd probably be better to strictly be a bus league like it was maybe originally designed. But from a coaching staff perspective, it's cool to get to go fly over to Omaha and be in a different state with a very different terrain, with a different atmosphere, a different demographic, a different type of person. That's really neat. We see it more as an opportunity than a threat. And I think that's the only way any team can operate. So we see positives in it. It has its challenges, but at the same time, if these guys pass these tests, then it'll really set them up nicely for their future careers as they hopefully move into the championship and the MLS and further their careers.
Because last time I checked, there aren't any direct flights from Statesboro to Omaha. Or
not from Statesboro, actually from Savannah. No, we have to. We drive through to Savannah, Hilton Head, and then take the flight across. But it's, again, our front office staff and our ownership do a great job with that stuff and make it relatively pain-free for us. And our job is just to do our part and be professional and get over there. But again, it's an opportunity more than anything else. So it's pretty cool.
Early scouting report on Richmond, not necessarily from what you've had the chance to look at, but from what you've gleaned from the first couple of weeks of the season.
Well, they return the best striker in the league, arguably, in Terzaghi, who's obviously an exceptional talent, and I think he scored 10 or 11 goals. I don't have the exact statistics in a 16-game season last year. So he's one of those players where no matter where he is in the field, he's always thinking, how do I score goals? So you have to pay special attention to that. And if you deal with him for the most part, that will help your cause. It's not the whole cause, but it'll help it. They've got Nil Vinyals, who played for us last year. And we know Nil, he's technically a phenomenal football player, just absolute phenomenal football player and a phenomenal kid. So it'll be really, really cool to catch up with Nil, see him in his new environment, how he's getting on. And Richmond definitely have a couple of different ways to play. They can play direct because they've got some height and depth and so forth up there, but they've got some of the technical proficiencies with some kind of South American players or Spanish players in midfield. So they're a little bit like us. They've got a little bit of everything. They've got physicality, but they also have some technical proficiency. So that balance will make it quite a cool game.
Ian Cameron, head coach, South Georgia Tormenta. Be safe. Safe travels. Good luck against Richmond. Thanks for hanging out with us here in the USL League One review. We'll be catching up with you down the line.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks to Coach. And as always, it's great to catch up with our friends down there in Statesboro. One last thing before we go. If you did not know, it was a little over a week ago that Richmond Kickers legend David Bulow suffered a stroke. Former coach, former player, and now there has been a GoFundMe that has been set up by Sarah Dutt to help take care of David, his wife Nellie, and their family as he recovers. As you all know, David has been a part of the Richmond community since 2006 as a player and as a coach, and as a part of the fabric of the Richmond community. And so far, in 5 days, to help support Dave Bulow with everything and the family, it was an initial $50,000 goal for expenses and helping the family. As of right now, you've got $86,000, north of $86,000 in this GoFundMe that's been set forth by Sarah Dutt. And great work by the soccer community, not just the Richmond community, but the soccer community and the Richmond community as well. He's been helping to take care of Dave and his family. $86,000 plus. So you can go to GoFundMe and check out helping support the Bulow family. Sarah Dutt, well done by the soccer community there. $86,000 and growing in only 5 days for a $50,000 goal. So great stuff. And we'll keep an eye and obviously send our love to everybody up there in Richmond. That is another look at USL League One. Once again, thanks to Ian Cameron, the head coach of South Georgia Tormenta. Busy week when it comes to what we're going to be looking at in USL League One. Give you a look at the schedule real quick as to what to expect for the week upcoming for the schedule before we go. And it's going to start on Friday night at Drive Pink. Fort Lauderdale for their 5th match of the year, hosting Union Omaha. 4 games on Saturday. Richmond at 6:30 hosting Tormenta. North Carolina FC gets their first match of the season at Wake Med against Greenville. Globe Life gives you North Texas hosting Chattanooga for their first match of the year. And at Keno North at 10 o'clock on Saturday night, FC Tucson hosting Forward Madison. So that's your rundown of your schedule. That's your coach. That's your team of the week. That's your goal of the week. USLLeagueONE.com for all the information you need at USL League One. For Jason, for Jared, for Nick, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy your time watching USL League One.
There can be only one!